And new polling shows Harris leads Trump by 3% in Iowa. Drew Coffey is in studio to explain how these polls are taken and what they may mean to voters. Good evening, Drew.
Good evening, John. Political polling has been used during elections for decades to gauge support for candidates and opinions on political issues. I spoke with political science professors on what these numbers mean and what effect they can have on the results of the election.
You're never sure how they or if they can get it right.
People are still voting early in Iowa, but polls have been going on for a while now. One poll shows Kamala Harris leading Donald Trump 47 to 44%. Political polls have, for decades, been a way to gather public opinion on an upcoming election. Political science professor at Augustana College, Paul Baumgartner, says there are many different demographics polls use to collect results.
We want to kind of match the participants in the poll, their identities, their views, their behaviors, to the broader demographics of the community whose views we're actually trying to understand.
Voters have traditionally been contacted by phone based on their age, gender, or thoughts on current political issues. From there, they are asked questions about the upcoming election, as well as their candidate of choice. Baumgartner says it's important to have a large sample size of likely voters to decrease the margin of error.
This presidential candidate up by 1 point, or this Senate candidate up by 2 points. Well, if that's within the margin of error, there's a good chance that actually those candidates are not winning, they're losing.
This margin of error can lead to multiple polls within the same state having very different results. Baumgartner says the polls can sometimes have an impact on people who haven't yet voted.
Well, a few different things could happen. One, you say, I better get on the bandwagon, right? If everybody likes this person, what's wrong with me? I better like them too. So if you have a poll that inflates the support for a certain person, that could actually lead more people to support that person.
But polls are not a guarantee of how the election will shake out. Political science professor at the University of Iowa, Tim Hagel, says consumers should take each poll they see with a grain of salt.
At a certain point, you just kind of have to say, it's nice if it aligns with what your desires are as a consumer. It's maybe disappointing if it's not. But again, since we're talking an election, and especially this close to it, basically at this point, you want to ignore a lot of that stuff and wait until you start to see some of the results.
Drew Coffey, WQAD, News 8. We want to clarify that there are many different polls taken around election season in each state with varying results. Baumgartner says with the margin of error taken into account, this recent poll showing Harris up by 3% over Donald Trump in Iowa may actually be closer moving into tomorrow. Polls close in Iowa tomorrow at 8 and in Illinois at 7. John?
All right, Drew, thank you.